Hey everyone, it's Andrew from Yellowknife Sport Fishing Adventures. This isn't exactly the video that I was hoping to show you guys today. It's November 5th and it's probably around 2-3 degrees. We've been popping down to -2, -3 at night, but obviously it's not enough to freeze the waters. I think what I'll do this time around is, instead of doing a first ice video, I'll be doing a equipment review. So a bunch of stuff that I had from last year, I'll give you guys a review on, and some new stuff that I bought and why I bought it. And hopefully you guys will get a good idea of what to buy, what not to buy, and give you an insight of what I'm using and how I'm catching my fish. So stay tuned. I'll go set up my tent in the driveway, dig out my stuff, and give you guys a look. So see you in a bit. Alright, I'm set up on my driveway, my new Eskimo 850 XD Outbreak. I wanted to give you guys a little look into the gear that I used last year and the gear that I'm using this year. I picked up some new stuff and explain why I like it and why I'm using it, and hopefully it's something that'll help you guys on your adventures catching fish out on the ice. So I'll start with the big one first, which is this tent. I still have and still will be using my Cabela 6-sided insulated tent. Absolutely love it. Zero issues, zero complaints about it. I just wanted a bigger tent for camping. And if I have a little bit larger of a group on my fishing charters, then this would be the one that I'd be using rather than the 6-sided one. There's a lot of similarities between the tents that I've been using. The insulation part of it is a huge thing. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a kind of like a grid pattern kind of stitched in along the side, and all that is just holding the insulation that's in between the out and inner material. Retains heat, keeps you warm, and also prevents with some condensation buildup on the inside. This thing's got lots of windows. They got little Velcro tabs. They fold down. The plastic windows themselves got Velcro on them, so you can take them out if you want to or replace them. You got you got a little mesh thing that you can stick clubs and whatever in up here on the side. This tent as well has a walk-through door on the front. Rather than have that little triangle, just like they do kind of in the back here, we have to like step over to get in and out of it. So I have a Big Buddy heater. They're great, pros on them, super warm. They got an oxygen sensor shut off, tip over shut off. You have your low, medium, high settings on it as well, and you can also set them up with a 20-pound tank or bigger, or you can use little 1-pound tanks on it. So it's quite versatile. The con side of it is it's a little bit bulky, and it makes it a little bit tough to pack in the snowmobile toboggan. Plus that it has plastic on it, and you gotta make sure that it's secure and packed properly so it doesn't bounce around and break. So it makes it a little bit challenging that way when you're packing lots of gear. But there are lots of pros to it, which I do like. The other option you have is one of these sunflower heaters. A couple different brands. The Remington makes them. I think that's the brand. Mr. Heater, the same people that make Big Buddy, make them as well. They will heat up a double tent like this, no problem, just like the Big Buddy will. The really convenient part of it is the size. It's easy to pack inside your backpack. You can throw your 20-pound tank in your toboggan and not have to worry about it. Just in here, just fits right inside your backpack and makes it super easy for packing. It does have a tip off or tip over sensor on it, so if your tank falls over or whatever, it'll shut it off. It does not have an oxygen sensor on it, so that's one of the cons. But you know, if you have one of your carbon monoxide alarms, that's something that you can be aware of to make sure that you're safe. These little carbon monoxide testers, this one is a Kitty. There's a whole bunch of different brands. Like I picked this one on Canadian Tire. It's got a battery in it. I haven't seen it where it's read above 0 yet, and I haven't heard the alarm go off. And I'm here making a video, so it works. So next little thing that goes along with the heater and air circulation stuff is I have a fan up here, and I'll pull it down and light off for this. So this little bugger I got off of Amazon for like 34 bucks. I ordered a couple of them. Does what it's supposed to by taking the hot air that just goes straight up at the top of the tent, pushes it down. I don't even know what the brand is, some Chinese made thing. But anyways, they're $34. You just look up a tent fan or a camp fan, and this is a USB charge, and this one also has a cell phone charger on it too, so you can you know, plug a USB charger for your cell phone, plug it in. So it's like a little battery bank as well. So it's I think it's gonna be super cool. I'm looking forward to it. I have high hopes for this thing, and hopefully it doesn't you know, shit the bed. 3 different settings on the fan. It's also got a light with 3 settings on it as well. But yeah, highly recommend getting yourself a fan, whether it's this one or another one. But for $34, free shipping with Prime, can't go wrong. So I got a couple of them, and I do have some high hopes for them, and it's another cool little thing that it has the battery bank on it as well. So I was influenced by social media to try some Dakota lithium stuff out. So I bought their power box. I also bought an extra battery as well that I'm going to put in with my Garmin Panoptix. But this is going to be a little staple of my tent setup that I can use to, you know, if I'm doing overnight camping, I can run a long USB cord that's going to keep my fan going, charge my cell phone. If I'm doing any, you know, doing any videos, I can keep my GoPro and other stuff charged as well. So looking forward to this. It's got, you know, it's got a 12-volt plug on it, like cigarette lighter type thing. You got your USBs. So I'm not blind you guys with the camera, but it's got 2 very bright LED lights on it. Yeah, nothing. Just looking forward to it. Lots of people have been using these. Lots of people saying they're awesome. I bought a 8-inch StrikeMaster 40 volts, and I also got a 10-inch 40 volt as well. There was no 8-inch light flight versions, so I ended up buying the separate auger piece, which is like the plastic auger, which also comes with the drill bit adapter. So that's why I have my hand drill set up to this one. This is probably what I'm going to be using for the first probably the first month of ice fishing, and then I'll transition into the bigger, heavy duty ones. I'll move over to this. The 8-inch StrikeMaster. It's got the metal auger on it. The StrikeMasters are like $200 or $300 cheaper than the Ions, so there's definitely an advantage with that. You know, they have LED lights on the bottom. Ion has those as well. They're in different spots on the auger, but they both have the lights. They both have forward and reverse. A cool little thing that StrikeMaster includes with their augers is they have a little Allen key slot, so you can easily check your bolt on your auger. Sometimes the little simple things make all the difference. if you haven't switched to battery or electric augers, you got to do it. Like, you can sit there and say, oh, I like my gas, I get power, I can drill as many holes as I want, and blah blah blah. Until you go out there and use them, you're not going to get a true appreciation of what they have to offer. And I'm up in the Arctic and fishing in some super cold temperatures, and I have zero issues with them. So if I can use them up here with no problem, I'm sure that most of you down south can use them without any issue either. So they had these last year. I didn't order one, but I decided to order one this year. It's a little bucket caddy by Eskimo, zipper pouches, and probably gonna take me a while to figure out what all the pouches and stuff are for, but I think when I'm doing my side-by-side fishing or walking out for the early part of first ice, I think this is going to be a real convenient thing to use and keep me organized. Being organized while ice fishing is key. Here's another little gadget. It's called the rod glove. I use these for your rods. I don't have any line on them yet, but when you do have line on them, you put these rod gloves on them, and you'll prevent, if you have 3 or 4 rods in a bucket or in your traveling case, you're not going to get them all tangled up and knotted into each other. So it's just one of those little things that just keep things clean and organized. And if things are clean and organized, it cuts down on the frustration of untying knots and cleaning up messes. A couple years ago, I ended up buying some Cabela's Fish Eagle 50 model fishing rods just to see, and fell in love with them. They're graphite rods. They make a couple different sizes. They have a medium light, medium, and a medium heavy, and there's a whole bunch of different lengths for them. So this one here is a medium light. It comes with the reel, Cabela's brand reel, cork handles, bang for buck. Not gonna go wrong with it. Medium light. This is good for, you know, I'm doing my whitefish fishing up here. Sometimes walleye as well. Then my charter rods are all 28-inch mediums, and then this is my personal ones that I have for myself. These are 32 mediums, 32-inch mediums. This one here, I have a Garcia Max X Reel. The other reel that I like to use, made by 1-3 Fishing or 13 Fishing. This is the Free Fall XL. This is a brand new one this year. I have had one for, I don't know, 4 years now, 5 years on one of my other reels. Love it, super cool. And then for my heavy rods, I bought the Garcia Max Reel in a bigger size to pair up with this rod. It's a 38 medium heavy. This is the one that I use for tip ups for pike, or jigging for pike, or fishing for lake trout. The bigger reel, I can put on some heavier pound test line and fight the fish a little bit easier. So those are the rods that I'm using. Go from whitefish, walleye, pike, lake trout, burbot, in canoe. Caught them all in these things. Been awesome. So the next thing is, I'll show you, is this is just a Flambeau rifle case. So these cases come with foam on the inside. I think they're about 40 bucks. So yeah, I have one of my bigger rods in here right now. and years of using these things and testing them, I've yet to break a rod. I think the foam plays a big part in it. The plastic itself, it stands up to that cold temperature, so can't go wrong with a $40, $50 purchase for these things. Highly recommended. Save yourself damaged rods, damaged reels, and save yourself a little bit of money. What is this? Well, this is an ice scoop. This is made by Baker's Narrows. I believe they're a lodge out of Manitoba. Anyways, they design this ice scoop and commercially sell it. You can buy them at Canadian Tire or Cabela's and Ice Fishing Hole and wherever. So basically, as you stick it down, you make sure that you go below all the slush, straighten it out, and then slowly lift it out. And you end up getting like a stack of slush like this sitting on top of this, and you just shake it off, and then your hole is usually clean in 1 or 2 scoops. A very, very convenient little tool to have, and makes things quick and easy and convenient. That's what I like. So some people like the scoops. I like this strainer, and I will continue to use it forever and ever and ever because it's so awesome. I have 2 basically strike rigs. I have the HT Striker Pro, which I bought last year and I used. Loved it. I've also fished with friends, and I had a chance to use the Jaw Jacker strike rig last year. Loved it. I'd say both of them have the same con, where this little screw system that holds the line trigger basically. So when it's under pressure, your line fits over top of this little piece here, and then the fish bites and pulls on the line. It lifts this up, and then the force of the rod just pops up from that point. But anyways, there's a screw system that goes in here. It's the same thing with the Jaw Jacker. I lost it on this, so I got a little piece of wire in there that allows it to move around freely without any issue. The Jaw Jacker has a screw system on it as well, and I know that they sell a replacement kit for those, so that means that if you're not careful, you most likely will lose them. But they work great concept. You can basically set up a dead stick with a minnow on it, and the fish will bite it and it'll set it for you. Caught lots of fish on this, and lots of big fish as well, so super happy with it. Definitely, whether it's the HT Striker Pro or the Jaw Jacker, definitely one of those things you got to add into your goodie bag. So to kind of go in line with the strike rigs, I'm not a huge well, I guess there's 2 types of tip ups. There's your rod tip ups, your rod holder tip ups, which HT makes. This is the original ice rigger. iFish Pro is another one that has a rod system, and then a lot of the other tip ups are their own kind of internal line system where you can hand bomb your line in. Personally, myself, I like using the fishing rods. So I have, my go-to has been the ice rigger by HT. Last year, Nick, who came to visit us earlier, set up this little contraption. It's a window alarm. If the fish bites, the flag goes up. When this is on, the alarm goes off, and you can hear this thing. Like, well, we're only allowed to have holes, I think 25 yards from where we're fishing, your main point of fishing, and you can easily hear this. It's very loud. You can easily hear it from that distance. So, and even in the cold, the batteries doesn't really require a whole lot of battery usage. So even in the cold, the batteries, even after a full day of fishing in the cold, the little AAA battery that's in it this still has enough juice to sound the alarm. So it just allows us to fish inside the tent and stay warm and have our tip up outside, and then be able to hear it without an issue and get out to it quick before the fish swallow whatever rigs too much, harming the fish. So next I'll go over this ugly little thing here. This is 2-inch insulating foam wrapped up in some duct tape to make it a little bit more tough. And I use this to cover my holes when I'm fishing with the HT tip-ups. How I use this is when I drill my holes, I don't shovel away the snow and I leave that snow cone. And I flush the hole so the water comes up over top of the snow cone, and then I press this on top, and then which creates a bit of a lip and a seal. And the concept behind this and leaving the snow cone is that the water is, you know, 1, 2, 3 degrees, so it's letting that warm air, and the snow insulates, and then this insulates and then traps that warmer air, and it takes a long time for the ice to freeze. So at like -20, I could probably get to about hour checks. So every hour I go out and check the holes, and I'm just scooping out slush at that point, and still it hasn't frozen over yet. So and as long as when you're scooping the slush out of the holes, you cycle the water around so it kind of gets that warmer water that's a little bit lower underneath the ice back in the hole, and then you put this back on top, and it traps that that temperature that's coming off of the water and keeps that little area at, you know, 2-3 degrees and prevents it from freezing. I have this set up to have a line in it, so when I have the tip up set up beside it, the line goes in, and with the duct tape on it, if a fish is taking the line, the line's not gonna cut into the foam, and it just kind of slides nicely along the duct tape. It's simple, it's cheap, easy to make yourself. I know there's other companies that make them, but I don't know, you save yourself some money and have some fun and fish with something you made yourself and have a little bit of joy with that. So definitely give it a try. So I'll get into a little bit of tackle right now. For me, one of the most productive little jigs that I've used, and this little thing works for lake trout, it works for whitefish, it works for walleye, it's worked for pike, is the Northlands eyeball spoon. You can get them in different colors. There's a couple different sizes. This is the 1/4 ounce one, which I like. And the way I fish it is I set it up with a stinger hook. And Northlands makes these. These are the VMC ones. Whatever you can get. I know up here they sell out pretty quick, so I've stocked up on them. So I set up the stinger hook on this, and then I use frozen minnows, like thawed frozen minnows, and then I set it up on this. It works. So this is one of my favorites. If you're not using it, I definitely recommend giving it a try. I also like using these Northlands little glow sticks. They come with a little attachment so you can hook your glow stick and hook it onto whatever lure. I do have a bunch of Northlands lures that you can slide these into. It's just an extra little piece of glow and color down there that will attract the fish, and I think it's one of those things that it helps a bit. So if it helps, why not use it? Another lure that I was at Cabela's a couple weeks ago, and it caught my eye. And this is the Acme Tackle Company Hyper Hammer It. And looks pretty neat. It's got some, looks like it's got some rattle in it. It's got a a tail that you can spin around, which will change the directions of it moves when you're jigging it. It's got a treble hook that hangs down from the front, and it's got a single hook that kind of loops around the back, and it glows in the dark, and it looks really cool. Caught my attention, so I bought a couple of them. Next, I picked up, I've always used tube jigs for lake trout and other fish, but there's a couple companies now that are selling some heavier weighted tube jigs, bigger tube jigs, a little bit of color, and pre-rigged with stinger hooks on them. The first couple I bought are made by Wahoo, and it's just basically a game tube jig with a striker on it, so it's white and red. It's got a stinger hook on it. Pretty basic, but big lake trout love these kind of things. You probably have heard of the TC Moto bait company. These guys have come in the scene the last couple of years with lake trout tube jig setups, and I haven't used them yet. I've known a couple of guys that have, and if you're watching YouTube or following any kind of social media, any of the guys that are catching big lake trout are using these tipped with some sucker or Cisco or whatever. So I bought myself a couple different colors. Some Hypermax Glow Wasabi color. This one's a Jack D Lantern. It's like an orange Hyper Glow. And then I got a white glow one here as well. So give those a go when I'm chasing some big lakers, and hopefully they'll catch me some big fish. So last but not least is probably my most prized and important piece of equipment that I use and absolutely love. The Garmin Panoptix. This is the live view, so it's kind of the first generation. They had the live scope out. Not quite there yet with the price point. I have a couple of these that I use in my charter. It's a big jump in price to go from upgrading, so I'm going to probably use these for the next couple of years before I end up upgrading to the live scope versions. But these live view is absolutely amazing. If you're not using electronics when you're ice fishing, you got to get something. You got to get something that's going to tell you the depth. You got to get something that's going to show if there's fish chasing your lure. Cameras work great depending on the type of water clarity you're fishing in. Up here, it's either like super clear or it's murky. So I don't have an underwater camera. I ended up investing in the Panoptix a couple years ago for ice fishing, and absolutely love it. I don't regret spending that money. It has helped me catch more fish than I can ever imagine. It's helped people I take on charters catch fish. Best money I've ever spent. It gives you a super wide field of view underneath you, and it's literally watching a video game. You can see your lure bouncing around on the bottom, and you can literally see a fish swim in and chase around your lure and bite it, and you can, as you're reeling it up, you can watch the fish being reeled up. If you're not using one, really consider it, because it'll change your world for ice fishing. Well, I think I've gone through all the gear and equipment that I have. I have everything else that I want to share with you guys. I'm sure I'll have some more videos in the next couple weeks once we start getting some ice. It's November 3rd today. I'm really hoping by November 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, around those couple of days, that there'll be ice on one of the lakes I want to go to. So hopefully by then I'll have an ice fishing video for you, and hopefully you enjoyed my pickle trunk of gear and equipment. Maybe you'll take something away from it and try it for yourself, and if you do, hopefully it works. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Really appreciate it. If you could hit the like button, appreciate it. Give me a follow. You can check out all of our fish pictures on Instagram at Yellowknife Sport Fishing, or you can check us out on Facebook, which is at Yellowknife Sport Fishing Adventures, or you can hit up our website, yellowknifesportfishing.com. Check us out, keep in touch, and hopefully in 2 weeks I'll have something super cool for you guys to watch. Alright, take it easy.